Vikings were Scandinavian seafaring warriors who raided and colonized broad swaths of Europe from the 8th to 11th century, notably disrupting European history. This video explores 10 interesting facts about them you did not know. 10. Gender equality. In Nordic societies, although male dominance was prevalent, women experienced a level of freedom that was comparatively greater than in other European cultures. They had the right to inherit property, oversee family finances, seek divorces, and claim ownership to their dowry. Some women were shield maidens or female warriors, and archaeological findings have unearthed the burial site of high-ranking female Viking warriors. 9. Vikings were the first Europeans to reach North America. Prior to Christopher Columbus's arrival in North America, Viking explorers ventured into what is now Newfoundland around the turn of the 11th century. They established a small settlement at L'Anse aux Meadows, situated on the northernmost tip of Newfoundland. In 2021, advancements in technology allowed scientists to accurately date tree rings in this region, revealing the Vikings arrived in 1021, more than 4 centuries before Columbus. 8. Vikings had contact with Native Americans. Although their stay was relatively brief, lasting perhaps only 3 to 13 years, the Vikings likely had encounters with Native Americans during their exploration of North America. Conflicts between Inuits and Vikings occurred multiple times in Greenland. Additionally, a genetic connection has been identified between certain Icelanders and Native Americans, suggesting the possibility of a Native American woman traveling to Iceland with Vikings. 7. Vikings did not wear horned helmets. Despite their portrayal in operas, comics, and TV shows, it's unlikely that Viking warriors actually wore such headgear. Horned helmets would have been impractical for close combat and served no practical purpose. The origins of this misconception likely trace back to the 19th century, when a costume designer named Carl Emil Doppler crafted costumes for Richard Wagner's operas, inspired by Norse themes. 6. Vikings enjoyed rap battles. In instances of disagreement between individuals, they would engage in a form of public verbal sparring known as flyting, derived from the Old Norse term for provocation. This practice provided Vikings with a platform to display their linguistic skills by exchanging poetic insults. Flyting was prevalent in various Viking courts across regions such as England and Scotland, where it became a customary feature of social interaction. 5. Vikings weren't all blond-haired and blue-eyed. They were a culturally and ethnically diverse community with a range of physical features. In an effort to adhere to Nordic beauty standards, some brown-haired male Vikings would occasionally bleach their hair blonde, using a potent soap containing high levels of lye. This practice was not solely about aesthetic preferences, but also had practical benefits, as the lye soap was effective in eradicating lice. 4. Berserkers in battle. There were Norse warriors known as Berserkers who entered battle in a state of uncontrollable rage, although they may seem more like figures from mythology. The term Berserker derives from Old Norse, meaning to change form, and referred to formidable fighters who wore bearskins and were believed to possess supernatural abilities. Contemporary sagas portray them as fierce combatants who screamed as they charged into battle and had the capability to dispatch adversaries with a single strike. Contemporary interpretations of berserker rage often focus on the potential role of intoxicating substances, such as mushrooms or potent alcoholic beverages. 3. Vikings had bears as pets. Vikings were recognized for their ownership of animals, expanding beyond the typical cats and dogs to include bears as well. Bears were raised from a young age to be domesticated pets. In fact, Iceland established regulations concerning the ownership of polar bears, one of which stated, "If an individual possesses a domesticated white bear, they are expected to treat it similarly to a dog and assume responsibility for any harm it may cause, compensating for damages incurred. A bear does not receive immunity for injuries it inflicts upon others if it becomes aggressive." 2. They had slaves. A key objective of Viking raids was to obtain individuals for slave trade. Vikings would seize and enslave both women and young men during their raids on various territories, spanning from the British Isles to Eastern Europe. The acquisition of enslaved captives may have even served as a driving force behind Viking explorations and raids. These captives, classified as thralls and considered the lowest social class in Viking society, were then sold in expansive slave markets across Scandinavia, Europe, and the Middle East. 1. The modern British monarchy can be traced back to the Vikings. In 1066, William the Conqueror of Normandy emerged victorious over English King Harold Godwinson at the Battle of Hastings, initiating a period of Norman governance over England. The Normans, derived from the term Norsemen, were descendants of Vikings who had settled in northern France. Over time, their society adopted elements from Franco and Germanic cultures. Every English monarch, including Charles III, claims lineage from William, thereby connecting them to his Viking heritage. Those are 10 facts you might not have known about Vikings. Please like and subscribe for more epic echoes throughout human history.